When you're a military wife, there are some times where you just feel alone because if your husband gets deployed, they have a bunch of business meetings, we call them TDYs, that they have to go off to, and you are sitting at the house alone. That was me for like the first 10 years of our marriage. I felt like I had nobody, I had no friends, I had no family, I wasn't around anybody that I knew. And it was a very tough time for me because it kind of dropped me into a pretty dark depression. I was in a dark place. I was not telling myself good things. I was not being positive whatsoever. And it took a toll on our marriage. I'm going to be honest. And this is something that I don't talk about a lot, but I personally struggle with depression. And being a military wife, it is very, very, very hard because you're constantly moving, you're constantly losing friends. And then if you're a mother on top of it, so on this back end, I am a mother. So on the last few years, we've had to move with our little one, and it is very hard because they lose friends. It's just not about you. Like they lose friends and they lose comforts and they lose stability. And sometimes when my husband was gone, I always felt like I was like carrying the world on my shoulders while he was gone. He's been deployed several times, and the first time was actually before our kid, but I felt so alone. I mean, for 6 months, I had to come home to an empty house, right? And it was just so saddening, and it just put me even more so in my dark depression. And I struggled with, being positive, and I struggled with getting outside, and I struggled with meeting people. Luckily, I fell into some good friends and they started getting me outside and they told me about their struggles as well. But it's very hard being a military wife. So that's why I knew and I started learning about myself that I needed to be involved in something. I needed to either start my own business or I needed to get a job. And for like the first few years, I didn't work. And then I started getting into things. I started getting back into my engineering jobs and I was just feeling like myself again. Something was still missing, but I was starting to feel like myself, more often. And then I started my businesses, and that's when I feel like I've really started to shine. I feel like my personality is in my businesses. So for my military wives out there and my military moms out there, just know you're not alone. I am here with you and I completely get it. And starting your own thing and having something that you can wake up to that is not just being a wife and a mom is so nice. Like, I encourage all my military spouses to start something of their own, whether it's digital marketing or whatever you're into, just turn it into a passion so you don't fall into those deep, dark holes, that can be very overpowering and shadowing and be very negative. It is very hard life. I understand, but you are not alone. Okay. You're not alone.